Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head from 1967, directed by Gerald Thomas, and of course the 13th film in the series. So yes, we're back once again, here to discuss another Carry On film, this time one that I'd never seen before actually. So obviously now I've got access to the set, you know, the 30 films, you know, in the set will be watched and, you know, rewatched of course. But this is the one that I'd never seen, and it was very interesting to kind of, yeah, just watch this film. Hadn't heard, you know, the best of things, although it's kind of, you know, kind of regarded as a middling, you know, kind of carry-on film, and you know, a lot of people do praise this film. So I was very intrigued to see this one, and yeah, just I'll share my thoughts, you know, very briefly today. Of course, there'll be a spoiler warning on this film. If you haven't seen this, I simply recommend seeing it and then come back to this discussion, and we can go from there, and we can discuss this film in the comments and all that kind of stuff. So yes, just be warned. I always usually say that for all my reviews, but yes. With all that said, let's dig in. As I say, very brief. You know, I don't have too much to say about this one, but it's nice to kind of log my thoughts on all these films. So yes, a very interesting film, obviously covering the French Revolution. So 1789, you know, the setting in this film, and obviously covering, you know, mainly England and France in this film, and we have all the, you know, most of the Carry On, you know, cast really in this film, and you know, Sid James of course, as well as Kenneth Williams and Jim Dale. So most of the cast members as well, you know, minor, you know, kind of recurring cast members are in this film, and it's very interesting to see, you know, them kind of dressing up for this period, you know, piece, which they've done a few of, but yes, this is definitely a very, I think, a little bit underwhelming for me, and I just think it's definitely overall an enjoyable film. I liked it, but it was definitely, after the first act especially, quite disappointing, and you know, it was great to see all these, you know, cast members kind of playing quite bizarre characters at times, but you know, I think there just was something lacking that I found with, you know, the best, or even just some of the better Carry On films that I've seen, and it's just, I think, lacking in the script, and just the overall drive to the film. It wasn't quite there, and I think especially that suffered in the middle of the film, you know, I think it started to become actually as well a little bit convoluted, but you know, just kind of going through the motions, and wasn't quite enough gags, you know, that were really that funny. But yes, I think the first act has got some, you know, really funny moments. I think, you know, obviously Jim Dale and Sid James together are very charming, and of course those two characters that they play essentially go around saving, you know, different people from being beheaded. Of course, the guillotine, and you know, we have, of course, Citizen Camembert, played by Kenneth Williams, you know, and his kind of sidekick being played by Peter Butterworth, obviously a regular as well, I love, in the Carry On series, and those two essentially are, you know, the main villains of the film, you know, and Kenneth Williams especially, and yeah, essentially it's them trying to track down, you know, and kind of capture, you know, this character that Sid James plays, of course, the Black Fingernail, leaving his mark all over the country, and yeah, of course, France and England, swapping between these two different countries, and yeah, we have obviously the pursuit. I think, you know, it starts out, you know, quite enjoyable in that sense. Then, you know, in the middle, as I say, you know, kind of it goes off, and I think this whole kind of initial drive is kind of lost in the shuffle, and I think it's just a bit too much kind of randomness, you know, and stuff, you know, different gatherings and all this that's not quite, you know, sharp enough. It's not quite, you know, all these great actors in here, you know, kind of ready to do their thing, but I don't think the script is quite there to allow that. And I think though in the final act we have more just, you know, slapstick, you know, action scenes, you know, and obviously Kenneth Williams, you know, really kind of giving, you know, they're allowing him to really go all out in the sense. Jim Dale as well, Charles Hawtrey, you know, I think all of this, you know, this is when it kind of picks up again, and you know, I couldn't really say what was going on really in the final act in that sense, but it was very, very funny because it was so bizarre and just, you know, over the top, and just, you know, wacky, you know, very, very charming, you know, of course, Camembert is, you know, trying to stop them all breaking his possessions and all this, and the whole home, you know, being destructed, you know, in the final act. I really found that funny. I just, yeah, I think overall it's an okay film with a quite a underwhelming and kind of tiresome middle act, especially. That's the one that the part that really kind of took me out for a bit, and I
unsure of what was going on at times a little bit as well. Obviously, it's a parody of the Scarlet Pimpernel, obviously as well. So it's very interesting, but even then, it's quite all over the place at times, and I think the performances that are the thing that really shine in a general sense. The Carry On cast, very very charming, as always, and I enjoyed Sid James and Jim Gerald together, in this film. They don't play, their best characters, I will say, but again, when they're all together, it's hard not to be at least a little bit charming, these films. And this is definitely not one of my favourites. In fact, of the ones I've seen recently, it's definitely, it's a bit underwhelming for me. But having said that, it's an enjoyable film because the first act and the final act as well are, really quite funny and just very charming, as always, really. And it's a film that has some really good gags, but it's not quite consistent enough, I find, throughout the film. Just some wasted potential, really, things that could have been really really funny, in the middle of the film, and it wasn't quite really, and it just kind of was a bit of a mess around, I found, in some parts of the film. Having said that, I do really enjoy the sets, and the costumes as well, and just seeing the novelty of seeing these, these actors, the Karen cast, kind of playing, kind of characters, in the French Revolution, obviously, as well, the setting. So it's very cool to see them all, dressing up and all this, the novelty of that, and I enjoyed the score as well, just different moments of music in the film. It's definitely shot well and edited for the most part, competently, but I think definitely there is a thing, an aspect of the flow in this film, as I say, it's just a bit off, really, throughout the entire runtime, and it does, I think, partially the editing is definitely to do with the kind of lulls that the film has. But yes, overall it's an okay film. I did enjoy it, and I think, again, as I say, the final act really picked up, and I did enjoy that, quite a bit. It was quite funny, and bizarre, and it's definitely a film that I'd recommend as well. If you like Carry On films and you haven't seen this one, it was a first time watch for me, but I will say, it's definitely very interesting film to see, and check it out and see what you think. Again, the ending is quite funny as well. I loved seeing just the way that they kept up the jokes with the guillotine, and the way in which it ends. For obviously Camembert, it's really funny there, and I just really like the way that he kept up his chase of these characters. The black fingernail, especially throughout the film, and there is definitely a consistency in that, and the way it kind of links in at the end, which, as we know, is quite satisfying and always done, and just an okay film. It's definitely, as I say, not one of my favourites, in the series, but a fine film that I did enjoy, and would certainly recommend. So overall, my final rating for this film is a 61%. So that's an accurate score for my personal enjoyment of the film. Some will say put it higher, and that's fine. It's just my opinion. I think it's definitely I think especially let down by the middle act of the film, and just some things throughout that didn't quite live up to the potential, really. But overall, nonetheless, it's a very charming film, and it's definitely one that I enjoyed personally, and just the final act as well, especially really all out bizarre, and I think the slapstick there, and just the bizarre moments when they're all swinging clearly, through the windows and all this. It's very very funny, and just wacky, really insane stuff there, and it really works though. That final moments, in the manner, and that kind of when things are getting broken, and I really like the kind of sword fighting there. It went on for quite a bit, but because it was so kind of bizarre, and the interactions throughout with Kenneth Williams, for example, Jim Dale and stuff like that, I do think it works, and it didn't really matter that it was perhaps a bit drawn out in itself, because I did enjoy that kind of part there, and of course the ending, as we know, the double guillotine, of course, Peter Butterworth and Kenneth Williams, their characters are both in the guillotine there, and they kind of think there is that relief, and then of course the Black Fingernail revealing himself, and then the actual guillotine going through with that there, and that's a really dark but hilarious moment there, and yeah, just the ending, as I say, did follow through luckily with the kind of the way it was set up. You know, the running gags throughout the film with the guillotine, you know, and Charles Hawtrey as well. You know, throughout, you know, I really enjoyed him as always. You know, and his character, and just moments with the crowd as well. Thinking on that with his character there and interactions. So yes, definitely an okay film. I wouldn't say this is bad at all. Just a bit weaker in the middle, especially, and just not one of my favourites. But definitely an enjoyable film that I'd recommend if you've not seen it. And yeah, just I enjoyed you know, different things, you know, in the script as well. The names of the characters are quite funny, and yeah, just visual moments. It definitely had those moments throughout, but not quite enough for me as well. Just the editing at times, you know, it's just a bit all over the place, but it did you know, come together in a way in the end. So overall, it's an okay film for me. You know, I did enjoy it. Didn't love this film, but you know, definitely a film that I found charming enough, and yeah, it was definitely, it had some really funny moments, and yeah, it was a nice film once again to see. And so yes, that's my thoughts on this film. Obviously on Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head. Originally, obviously, it wasn't you know, called that. It was just called Don't Lose Your Head. Afterwards, given the Carry On title. But yes, obviously it's the Carry On cast. You know, and all this. So yes, Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head. That's my thoughts, regardless of this. And yes, tell me your thoughts. I'd be very interested to hear, and discuss the Carry On films. As always, as I say, you know, not too much to say on this one for me, but it was one of those films, first time watch. It was nice to see, and yeah, not too much to say after that. So that's my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think? Did you like this film? And yeah, just to discuss the Carry On films in the comments if you want. And yeah, I look forward to the next Carry On review as well, which will either be Carry On Doctor or Carry On Cabby, some films that I saw from the Carry On series very recently. So we'll see. But yes, obviously I will be reviewing and talking about all of these films eventually. So yes, that's it for now. I look forward to the next one. And yes, as always, take care and thanks for watching.